Hi and welcome. It really couldn't be easier to post your media release on this website. It's quick and easy, and once you hit the submit button, your release goes to a site administrator to further proofread it for you. So let's begin at the beginning. The posting organisation is you, not any client who you may be representing. So type in your name here. Next comes the headline. Our house style is letters to be lowercase, except for the first letter and any capital letters and proper names. While it is best to keep your headline brief, it still has to hint at a story. Please do not remove the words media release already in situ. It becomes part of the front page signposting. It's now time to enter the body of your release. You want to do this via a particular icon in this editorial toolbox. But initially, it might not be showing. Depending on the internet browser you're using, it is possible your toolbox is only displaying one row when there are in fact two. To open the second row, click this icon. And here is the T for text icon. Click it and enter your text via this. In making sure that all your content is there, you might want to tidy, including removing any extraneous carriage returns. Now, while there are lots of tools available, we recommend you limit how many you use to avoid your release looking potentially chaotic. But one tool you most certainly might wish to use is the link icon, which allows you to hot link to a website or email address. For instance, if referring to a third-party report, regulations, awards ceremony, etc., then you might wish to hot link to it to save readers the trouble of having to search for it themselves. Simply run your cursor across the word or words you wish to be hot-linked. For a website, the format is your www immediately following the already there HTTP code. For an email address, you need to replace the HTTP code with the words mail to, no space, followed immediately by a colon, then enter, again no spaces, the email address. The broken link icon, shown here, of course removes a link. And we're already almost there. Next up, you might want to upload a nice and sharp image, one that of course you have full permission to use. For best results, it should be sized 800 pixels wide and 450 pixels tall, and be less than 1 megabyte in size. In the absence of your own image, the site moderator will upload an image on your behalf so that your release stands out on the site's front page. The template now invites you to choose the subject of your release. It also asks you to identify the geography, plus the date when you want the release to go live on the site, and the time too. And to save you from having to scroll all the way from a minute past midnight, just type on your keyboard the hour that you want the release to go live from, and you'll then find yourself instantly in and around the exact time you're looking for. Now, you will know your release can be found by journalists visiting the site, and you will also know that both journalists and members of the public can find your release via an online search. But you also have the facility to email journalists direct, well, at least to the news desks of a variety of media outlets. Our media mailing list comprises national and local radio, TV, newspapers, websites and magazines. You will see you're asked a question. Do you want to forward your release to our mailing list? On saying yes, you will then be presented with a second question, which we will deal with in a moment. But on saying yes to the first question, you will then have appearing in front of you in blue lettering at least one heading, depending on how you've described your release, for instance, Scotland-wide. On clicking the heading to open, you will then be presented with a list of tick boxes. These are your forwarding options, and you can tick as many or as few as you wish, aware that it is likely to be counterproductive to forward your release to a media outlet that would never use it. Now to that second question prompted by saying yes to the first. Here, you're asked if you wish to forward your release on an embargoed basis, assuming that you've given yourself at least 24 hours ahead of it appearing live on the site. By giving journalists a sneak preview of your release, you might increase the chances of it being used. But be careful, embargoes do get broken, sometimes accidentally, so choose your words carefully to reflect your worst-case scenario. Please note, when choosing to send your release on an embargoed basis to the outlets that you've chosen, it will be sent with a very prominent warning that it is embargoed. In other words, you don't have to add your own warning. And when it's time for your release to appear on the site, that warning will be automatically removed. Before we go on, a couple of pieces of housekeeping. First, on the few occasions you see a media outlet mentioned more than once, tick it just the once. For instance, a radio station might be heard across several regions while operating a single editorial email address. Second, do feel free to suggest outlets that you believe should be added to our media mailing list. We're almost done. Your contact details come next. And if you want to include a telephone number, type it in without any spaces. Now, before you hit the submit button, do a quick scan to check everything is all present and correct. To have anything amended after you hit the submit button, it will involve having to contact the site. You are unable to edit your release after it has been submitted, but a site moderator can do it on your behalf depending on their availability. And on hitting the submit button, please be aware there will always be a delay before your release appears on the site, even when not under embargo. That's because your release will be first proofread by a site moderator. In the main, this second pair of eyes is to correct any spelling or grammatical errors. It is also to check you're not making claims about third parties that make it impossible for the release to run on the site, as explained in our terms and conditions. Moderation takes place Monday to Friday, 09:30 hours to 16:30 hours. And finally, once your release is up on the site, there are several different ways for you to share it, to spread the word. For a start, it will appear on at least one of our several Twitter feeds. Thank you, and we look forward to reading your stories.